let's jump into our wild card round preview. Matthew, you are flying to Houston for this one. Browns.
As soon as the show is over, I'm putting on the wig and the robe, grabbing my scepter and heading to first class.
That's right.
Demanding extra peanuts.
For this one opened with the Browns being favored by 1.5. They are now 2.5-point favorites on the road to the division-winning Texans right here with the point total set at 44.5 right now. Obviously, some high-octane passing offenses in this game, Matthew, which is crazy to say about a rookie quarterback and a guy that we thought was done in Joe Flacco.
For sure. I mean, that's going to be, I'm so thrilled to be going to the game. I'll be on Football Night in America from that game as well. I'll be on all Football Night in America, of course. We've got the whole weekend. We've got this game, then we've got the Bills and the Dolphins and Chiefs on Sunday night. That's Peacock exclusive show game, and then of course we've got the Sunday night game, the Rams and the Lions, which I think is the best game of the weekend on the slate here. But what a fascinating story, right? You've got C.J. Stroud, this rookie quarterback, which has exceeded expectations and just been unbelievable. Is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year against Joe Flacco, who 2 months ago was sitting on his bench, like in the Jets, sitting on his couch. The Jets were like, we're good when Rodgers went down, and Flacco was like, I know the offense, I'm available, and the Jets were like, no, we're good.
He would have lasted 4 plays behind the Jets offensive line.
Yeah, to be fair, he's not having this game.
So maybe it's best for him that they said we're good.
Probably factually correct here, but I think the guy that's going to be the most that I like the overs on his props, and that I think he's worth spending up for a little bit in DraftKings if we're playing DFS this weekend at $6,800. It's Amari Cooper, who in the 3 games with Joe Flacco, his last 3 games, he's got a 29% target share, right? So just as we do this, as we do sort of the wild card playoff, we're talking about we're going to do this a couple different ways. And you see Devin Singletary as well. He's just the 12th most expensive running back on the slate. He's had 80% of the team's running back touches over the final 4 games as well. He's just 5,700. Nico Collins, at least 7 receptions in each of his last 5 games with C.J. Stroud. I haven't looked yet. What's his prop? His prop's probably 5.5 receptions.
Nico Collins?
Yeah.
I'll take a look.
You'll take a look.
That sounds about right.
Real quickly, just to sort of talk about what we want. We're going to talk about all the playoff games here as we watch some footage of Nico Collins because he's very, very good. Look, we're gonna talk about DraftKings. They're a sponsor of our show. If you want to play DFS this weekend, it's a lot of fun as well. We're also going to sort of talk about playoff pools, right? We're going to go game by game here, and we're going to talk about sort of the playoff pools. That's going to come up as well. We're going to give you some advice on that.
Yeah, after our first break, we'll actually show rankings of fantasy players for the playoff pools, and we'll get into a little bit more how the format works because you're also drafting based on how long a guy's going to be able to play.
Correct.
Yep. So while we'll do the previews, we'll get to that for sure.
Just quickly, Nico Collins, he's set of 5.5 receptions. I think just macro with this game.
Give me the over.
Yeah, I agree. I think macro with this game, there's a lot of thought of, Joe Flacco is the experienced quarterback and C.J. Stroud's a rookie playing his first playoff game. It's a massive advantage at quarterback for the Houston Texans in this game. I'm sorry, C.J. Stroud is significantly better than Joe Flacco, and C.J. Stroud hasn't played in a playoff game. What was last Saturday night against the Indianapolis Colts? That was a playoff game on national television with everything on the line, and now it's a tougher matchup going up against the Browns, but I don't know. Having watched a lot of this Cleveland team, I still think that the reckoning is coming for Joe Flacco at some point. He could have thrown 5 interceptions against the Jets.
Yeah, that's true. I don't have a great feel for this game. I know the Browns are favored. I would probably, if I had to pick one, I'd probably take the Texans and the points just to because they're the home team but the defense is so good. But boy, oh boy, DeMeco Ryan. I mean, Stefanski's coaching his ass off, but so is DeMeco Ryans, and they're going to be fired up. Anyway, I can't wait for the game. But Cooper, Singletary, and Nico Collins are the players we like the most from this particular game on DraftKings.
And it's no coincidence. Everybody wants to interview Bobby Slowick right now, the Houston Texans offensive coordinator.
He's been there for 1 year.
He's been there for 1 year, and he already is getting head coaching interviews.
He's done an unbelievable job, even without Tank Dell. I mean, it's been Nico Collins and
It'd be nice if they could throw the ball a little more on Saturday. No more run pass, please, Bobby. That was painful on Saturday night.
Yes, it was.
Well, a game that might have some run pass because it feels like it's going to be minus 30 degrees in Kansas City when the Dolphins come into town. What a difference if you live in Miami and then you travel to Kansas City in this game where the Chiefs opened as 3-point favorites. They are now 4.5-point favorites. The total is already plummeting here, Jay. It was 47.5 at open. It's now 44.
I still like the under.
With the expected weather, do you expect do you play the under as well here?
Well, the other factor is the wind, which is going to be significant, looking at 16-mile-per-hour winds. And I think the other thing about this game is that the Dolphins, we forget about this because Tirico is such a phenomenon and their explosive downfield passing game. Like, they are an elite rushing offense, and that's where they had their success against Buffalo. Kansas City don't have a great rush defense, so if you're looking to bet this game, I'd be looking at like same-game parlays of taking the overs on. We're going to figure out the running back situation for the Dolphins, but basically rushing overs, Dolphins cover, total under. Like, I think that is the pathway for the Dolphins to win this game, and I think they will have success on the ground.
But I think on both sides of the ball, right? I think Isaiah Pacheco as well.
Yep.
I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to get a ton of work as well. I like the over-unders receptions prop, by the way. I mean, just again, no Jerick McKinnon. You talk about wins. You can see them dumping off. Pacheco just plays so much. He's had at least 20 touches in 4 of the past 5 games. He's scored in each of his last 4 games. He's only 6,400, as you see there. He's the 7th most expensive running back on the slate. I think he could have a monster game. Again, the Dolphins are not a great run defense. They aren't. I mean, they've been so beat up, Phillips and Chubb are out. Like, their whole defensive line has just been decimated by injuries as well. And so Pacheco is somebody that I think has a really big game here. Tyreek Hill on the other side of the ball here. He's going to see some L'Jarius Sneed. I think I might take the under on Tyreek Hill. Again, given the weather, given the fact that, if ever there was a team that would know what Tyreek Hill is capable of and maybe ways to slow him down potentially,
right,
it will be the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, the expectation is they're going to be listed as questionable, but Mike McDaniel said Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert both practice. They've gotten through practice so far this week without any setbacks. They're officially going to be listed as questionable, but the expectation as we sit here today is that they will play.
Yep. Tyreek is set at 85.5 receiving yards. That's about 10 yards lower than he normally is. Also, I like the Dolphins plus 4.5 in this game, which I'd say with some reticence because the Dolphins do not perform in these big games typically. But think about this.
Or on the road.
When is the last time the Chiefs played a game that made you feel good about them? Because I think you have to go back to week 7 when they blew out the Chargers. Because I don't think any game has been impressive from them since then. I don't think the offense is getting fixed.
I agree. And I was also going to say, like, when was the last time they blew somebody out?
Yeah.
The real opponent when they, and so.
I mean, it's like the Raiders in week 12, but even then they were down 14-0 in that game and it was a slog. So they're just not that great at the moment on offense. And we still have Mahomes in our head and maybe has another gear in the playoffs and they should be favored. But 4.5 points is a lot.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing about this game, if I can just take one moment here, is to just thank Matt Casey, who oversees Football Night in America here at NBC, because my buddies, Jack Collinsworth, Rodney Harrison, and Tony Dungy, they will be at this game. But Matt Casey is sending me to Houston where it's indoors.
They knew.
So I love you, Matt Casey. Thank you so much, Matt Casey. You did your boy a solid here as well. I'm indoors in Houston. Jack, Rodney, and Tony are going to be like freezing their
Matty
off.
don't like the cold. Matty has never liked the cold.
No.
Very anti-cold.
No, absolutely not.
You actually would have needed the wig just to keep your neck and face.
Just and the scepter.
Dude, it would have been brutal. So anyway, yeah, Jack, Rodney. So thank you, Matt Casey, for not sending me to. As much as I love Kansas City, it's a wonderful city, but not to be on the sideline there.
Staying in the AFC, the
that
Steelers.
Game exclusively on Peacock, by the way.
The Steelers.
It makes a great holiday gift for the Swiftie in your family.
You go.
Yes.
If you forgot to buy somebody a holiday gift, it's still time. So, Steelers.
January
Steelers
11th.
Yeah.
The Bills.
Early Valentine's Day present.
Opened up as 9-point favorites. It's only gotten bigger. They're currently 10-point favorites in this game. You want to talk about a total plummeting here, Matthew? This total opened at 43. It is now inching towards what I like to call the Iowa Northwestern line. It is at 35.5 right now.
Yeah, well, it's two defenses that have played really well recently, 2 offenses that have struggled. We also don't think this will be great weather as well. It's not going to be Kansas City, but it's not going to be great. Mason Rudolph on the road.
Possible snow,
by the way. Possible snow.
Possibly.
Kind of like the Bills' defense, right? Steelers have the lowest implied team total this week, like 13.5 points as well. It looks snow's possible. There's going to be high winds, frigid chills. I mean, it's Buffalo in January, guys, as well. Worth noting the Bills have the 4th most sacks this year on the NFL. So I kind of like the Bills' defense as a play on DraftKings this week. I don't know that I love anyone else from this game.
Yeah, The big thing here is 23-mile-per-hour winds as well, with very cold temperatures. And talk about the big winners out of last weekend. The Bills obviously getting 2 seed, the Texans getting into the playoffs, winning the division. Another big winner, NBC, because it was looking like it was going to be Chiefs Mason Rudolph as the Peacock game for a second, and now it's Tirico going back to Arrowhead, which I think is perhaps a better game. But
much better game.
I don't know what's going to happen in this game, but I do know that it is very likely the Buffalo Bills are going to play with their food in this one, and it's going to be Mason Rudolph being like, oh wait, it's the Steelers who've been completely outplayed all game. They're driving to tie it with 3 minutes left. It feels like that is coming, but ultimately you think the Bills will just have too much. The talent imbalance is so great. When you factor in, it was already great, and now TJ Watt is out for the game too. So Mason Rudolph's been a great story so far. I've watched the games. I don't think that Mason Rudolph is as good as his stats have been today.
The Bills, you're right. They sort of
screw around.
They screw around. I was going to say something else, but yeah, they screw around. They do. They screw around. I mean, honestly, like if it wasn't for a couple of delay of game penalties, they very likely lose to Skylar Thompson at home last year against the Dolphins.
People
forget.
Right?
You know, I mean, people forget that like, you know, everyone was just like, oh, Skylar Thompson, third string quarterback. He's got no chance against the Bills. And like, they were a couple of delay of penalty games on that final drive from getting, you know, winning that game. And so the Bills just sort of like, all year long,
they're a team that lives in the image of their quarterback, where it is so up and down, and it is mostly very good, and that's why they're the third favorite for the Super Bowl and the second seed in the AFC. But Josh Allen will have these moments, and I'm sure that, you know, he's going to throw it to Minka Fitzpatrick once or something. So still, they are 10-point favorites. The talent imbalance is so great in this game that you'd expect that they would win.
It's gone down to 35.5. You taking the under still? I'm tempted by it.
The only thing there is that I think that if there is one quarterback in NFL history who is immune to 25-mile-per-hour winds, it is Josh Allen. Because of the way that he... Think back to that absurd game against the Patriots a couple years ago where Mac Jones had 3 pass attempts, and Josh Allen's just flinging it just like it's normal conditions. So, yeah, I might lean the over there. I do think the Steelers will be intent on running the ball a lot, though, which will burn the total down.
Your guy Najee.
Yes.
Look at that. The season's over, and yet he's still carping for Najee Harris, Jay Croucher.
Hey, he's the heartbeat of that offense. It's a playoff offense.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.